Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Thirsty Thursdays. Yes, indeed, I know we got a lot of complaints. We missed last week. It was a crazy week. We try to keep to our schedule of every other week. We know the demand is there. We are indeed thirsty rock stars. We appreciate the fact that people did complain last week and reached out to us that we didn't do the podcast, and that's a good thing because it means that people were looking for it. So we'll try to be extra good today. Ooh. And I'm starting off with an extra good beer, I'll say that, an Orabelle or Orabella by Great Divide. Very good taste, especially it's dubbed ale with spices, especially since it's a very high alcohol beer. It's an 8.3. And a lot of times, right when you're getting to that level, you probably are just drinking the beer because you saw the 8.3, and it doesn't really taste that great. It's hard to make a super high alcohol beer that just tastes like really good beer, and I think Old Great Divide has done a good job here. So kudos to them. Joe has 6 pages of freaking notes here. So this is, we did miss a week, but you're going to get a jumbo package here. I don't think he made these notes on Sunday night because I was texting with him and Joe was on suicide watch during, I thought the game was such an ass kicking that, it's the one that doesn't bother you that much, but apparently not. I don't know if we'll delve into that deeply, but he's got, let's see, I was at the dermatologist today. And I got shot 6 or 7 times where I think it's liquid nitrogen or whatever it is. Anyway, I think I'm good. There was only one spot they were a little concerned with. And Joe went to the dentist, so he's drinking through a straw. So anyway, we're playing hurt here today on Thirsty Thursdays, Sense and Nonsense, which I don't even know if I introduced it as with its title at the start. But indeed, we are back, and of course, if you saw the social media or clicked on it, you know it's Thirsty Thursdays anyway, and we have our core of favorites out there, and thanks for being regular listeners. We appreciate that, and we will rock and roll and sip and dip coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092. It's time to visit once again with Dr. Brad Woodle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. And Dr. Brad, your group has reached a significant milestone in receiving a prestigious award.
Danny, we've been honored for the 10th year in a row to receive the 5-Star Service Award from Integrity Doctors. And what this means is that all of our offices throughout Kansas City have made sure to give people excellent chiropractic and acupuncture care, be on time, and do a very complete and thorough job, and have great responses back from patients.
I know firsthand because I was just treated, for instance, today by you. You have a wide range of fantastic services.
Absolutely. Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies, rehab, anything that you need to keep you well in bones, muscles, joints, and nerves.
And I can't say how much it's benefited me in the time I've coming here. Upwards of 2 years, my back has improved 100%. And you can have that same kind of treatment too. For more information and your chance for a healthier way of life, visit asfca.com/Danny today.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
All right, Danny, we're back. That's right. I went to the dentist today. I had my teeth drilled on. It was awful.
Are you really averse to the dentist?
Oh, I hate it. I got to tell you this, though.
I don't hate it. It doesn't bother me at all.
Really?
None. Zippo. Don't mind going to the dentist at all.
So I am deathly terrified of needles. I always have been. When I was very, very young, I was very sick and had to go get blood taken all the time. And so I got really afraid of needles to the point that in college I had to get a root canal one time, and I refused the needle.
So how did you do the heroin?
Well, you smoked that, Danny. Anyway.
Just sort of boiled it up?
Yeah, I don't know how heroin works.
I don't either.
I probably sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a root canal, and the dentist came in, and she's like, "You're not serious." And I'm like, "I'm serious." And they used topical, but I felt every bit of that root canal. And
Whoa.
Yep. Anyway, not so much anymore. I found a great dentist. I got a shout out to Jennifer at the Village Dentist. She's great. Okay.
There you go.
Some free buzz marketing. And, she's very understanding and is a little loose with the nitrous oxide when I'm in there. So it's,
nice.
That makes it go by a little
Yeah, I don't mind the dentist at all.
Oh, man, it's just like, I rescheduled it twice, it had to be done. Anyway, on to the fact check. It is fact check time.
This looks like the impeachment.
Got a video
script
on in the background here. Okay, so PT 109. We talked about the movie, right?
Yep.
Where we were talking about Kennedy, and it was the first commercial theatrical film about a sitting U.S. president because he was still president when it came out.
Yeah, and they probably really couldn't get away with that because also it came out when it was going to be right when he was ramping up for re-election.
Oh yeah, that would make sense because it was released domestically on June 19, 1963.
Right.
Well, Oliver Stone did the Bush one, I think, when he was still in office, right? Like towards the very end.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have really been.
Oh, it wasn't going to help him.
It wasn't going to help him.
So it came out 5 months before Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. So he was in office. We talked about what awards he might have been, awarded for all of his
medals.
Yeah, medals or awards. He was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal.
Right.
Okay. And he did get a Purple Heart. You were right. Ding, ding, ding. Correct. Because he was injured. So
right.
Purple Heart indeed. So we talked a little bit about Glenn Close. Okay.
Yes. Because we both couldn't remember Fatal Attraction.
So you said that maybe it would be possible to confuse her with Meryl Streep, right?
At one point in time, they were both attractive but not bombshell-type blondes who were serious actresses.
And that makes sense. And
So-
I thought that you were going to be made to be a fool here.
Okay.
But I don't think so. There is no Meryl Streep. But Glenn Close She won numerous awards, including 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, 3 Tony Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, and she's been nominated 7 times for an Academy Award, holding the record for the most nominations without a win by an actress.
Wow.
Okay? So that's pretty illustrious for Glenn Close. Now,
Yes.
most people would know Meryl Streep. You know, she's been... she's had more Academy Award nominations than any actor, having been nominated 21 times, 17 for Best Actress.
Wow. I mean, I knew it was a lot,
crazy?
but that's... Well, she's certainly deserving. I mean,
Do you know what the first movie that she was nominated for was? In 1978.
Oh, she's made so many good ones that I'm probably not going to get it, so we don't need to have dead air.
Well, give me a guess. Just give me a guess.
Really can't.
Deer Hunter.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah, you forget. I mean, I forgot.
That must have been supporting actress. wasn't
It must have been, yeah. Anyway, she's also been nominated for Tonys and Golden Globes. She's the most nominated performer in Golden Globe Awards history. Anyways, just award after award after award, and a Tony Award. I may have already said that, but yeah. So I think Streep wins, but Glenn Close.
Oh,
I mean,
Streep no doubt wins, but I'm saying at one moment in time.
yeah, there was a chance.
Because Glenn Close kind of stopped being an award-winning actress at one point.
Yeah,
in
she
time.
sort of just stopped acting as much,
Right.
Danny, cheers, buddy. It is Thirsty Thursday. I needed this, partner. Woo!
You know, I never drink anything with a straw, and you know why?
It's going down fast.
Right, because it goes. You drink it faster.
I don't have any choice, man. I'm playing hurt here.
I'll have to say that the Orabelle is going pretty fast too. I may be done before I may be empty before the end of the first segment.
This is a long fact check. So
Okay.
pace yourself.
All right.
You talked about the TV show In Concert, which I looked up. And,
Right, and I revisited that.
Oh,
actually.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, you maybe learned some of this, but this was interesting. It premiered on November 24th, 1972, preempting the Dick Cavett Show, okay? The first broadcast was a concert taped at Hofstra University. Get this for the lineup. Alice Cooper, Bo Diddley, Curtis Mayfield, Seals and Crofts.
Wow,
I mean,
that's pretty diverse.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going from Seals and Crofts to Alice Cooper. Anyway, so then it was on TV until 1975. So it didn't have a very long
Shelf
time
life.
on TV. Yeah, but it did become part of ABC's wide world of entertainment programming block with the Dick Cavett Show and some other things. During its 3 seasons on the air, it received 4 Primetime Emmy Awards. So why does a show like that go away?
I don't know. And in my world, it was a late night show, but I don't remember it being a primetime show. But it was a very well done show. You'd get a lot of variety in it. I think the way they did it was usually it was just one song by the band, and then they would come back later. They wouldn't come back later, but they would play another song later. So it was sort of a rotation of songs as I remember it. But I haven't seen the show in 40 years. So
Well, in 1991, they brought it back.
wow.
I didn't know this.
I did not know this.
This would have been right in my, when I'm forming my musical taste, right? So it came back it was called In Concert 91. It was more popular and achieved higher ratings for late night shows on Fridays. It would have newer acts like Alice in Chains and Poison, and it would also have older acts like David Bowie, Cher, Judas Priest, Phil Collins. And it was simulcast on ABC radio stations. And
Wow.
it ran till 1998. And then they tried to do a ABC In Concert Country edition. It ran for 2 months.
Well, ooh. Well, when the original In Concert was on, they used to. These were live in concert shows, but occasionally some of the bigger acts that they could get would just do what would basically be a video.
Oh.
So, but I mean, not like they couldn't get big acts, but if they were going to get somebody really like David Bowie, perhaps.
So those older, like Bowie videos that are pre-MTV, that was probably from in concert or a show.
Or maybe they just did a video and sold it to, whatever show was out there.
Like what? Like they would show it on a
Midnight Special, which we talked about before.
Yeah, or like would they show them on like a late night show? Would they show them on
I don't know.
Carson or something?
I don't know. They put them online.
You're supposed to be our expert on this old shit, Danny.
I'm a pretty good expert. We've got in concert and Midnight Special.
There was a controversy on that very first episode, though, because
Okay.
Alice Cooper was on there.
Right. Oh, did he do something untoward?
Well, for a certain station in Cincinnati, he did. And the guy that owned the station ran down there and ripped it out of the wall or whatever and put on a rerun of Rawhide. Okay? So
That's funny.
So he gets all of these nasty phone calls in protest, including bomb threats, for having taken that show off TV. How about that?
Well, Cincinnati's basically a southern city. So
What does that have to do
Well, no,
with
I mean,
anything? You mean just being more
pretty conservative,
conservative.
whatever.
I thought you were talking about the bomb-making
I think
proclivity of the
people
southern
think,
people.
No. I think people think, Cincinnati, it's in Ohio, it's Midwest. It's not. It's really like.
Really, I've never been to Cincinnati.
Well, it's almost in Kentucky. It's like Kansas City, which was one of the reasons I've always been amazed at how everybody just says, well, we can't get stuff done here because there's a state line. There's so many cities that are right because they're river cities.
Yeah.
St. Louis has things on both sides of the river. I mean, it's just commonplace.
Well, there's a long history not getting along.
Well, that's true.
Right? I mean,
That's true.
I think that stuff runs deep. We talked about...
Laker's really getting after his bone today.
Hey, Laker.
I don't think you can really hear it.
No.
But
All right.
Anyway.
You're distracted,
It's
Danny.
a big dog with a big bone that he's chewing on.
So, Danny, we talked about watching old music videos, and there was a dance move where David Lee Roth was jumping up and touching his toes.
Yep.
And we were wondering what that dance move was called. Do you want to offer a guess one last time?
No.
It's called a toe touch.
Boy, what a clever name.
I looked, and I couldn't find anything but toe touch for that.
I'll tell you what, we are rewatching the Ken Burns jazz series, and it is stupendous. I don't know if we've talked, but anyway, we watched the one about swing music, which I like a lot, last night. And they did some of the craziest dance. And you watch these films of these people dancing, and it's like hip-hop dancing. That's what it looks like. They're slinging people all over the place, and the guys who are just dancing by themselves, they look like, Michael Jackson, basically. I mean, it's amazing what they did, and it's great music, and it's a fabulous show. I mean, Wynton Marsalis is on it as one of the major spokespeople. And it was done, I didn't know it was done this long ago. It's 20 years ago that it was done. He's the most unbelievably articulate and lovable person. And then he sits there and scats, to describe what the music is. I mean, he's just genius. I mean, it was like, Buck O'Neill was so great in the baseball.
Yeah.
And Quentin Marsalis in the jazz thing is every bit as fantastic. I mean, it's fabulous entertainment.
I took a fantastic course called The History of Jazz at the University of Kansas, that fine institution. And the professor, it was a great class, and he was fantastic. And he was on NPR. He was an NPR in Kansas City, an NPR music critic or something. I wish I could remember his name.
Right.
I might have it somewhere. And he had a rule that if you did not miss one class, if you were not late to one class,
right,
you didn't have to take the final and you got an A.
Wow.
I missed one class.
Oh!
One class.
What were the circumstances of you missing this?
They're unclear, Danny.
Maybe that class, if that class was Monday after the Super Bowl this year, you might have missed class Monday, wouldn't you?
You keep bringing it up. I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
No, I'm not talking about the Super Bowl part. I'm talking about the Monday morning part.
I was a hurting unit. There was an empty bottle of Glenfiddich. Let's just put it that way.
Should I say what you texted me?
I don't remember what I texted you, and I have not gone back and looked.
You said, I'll all
right,
I'm
let's
sure
hear it.
Our listeners will hear it. He said, I can't get over it. I'm drinking scotch from the bottle. Like the Waco. I texted back, I said, don't go Waco Kid. Because we actually watched a little Blazing Saddles the other night.
My God! You know what, Danny? I'm
One of
a
my
truth
favorite-
teller because
one of
that's
my-
what was happening.
One of my favorite of a million lines in that movie that's funny is the sheriff says to the Waco Kid, you drink like... He takes a big old slug of whatever rot gut he's drinking, and he goes, man, you drink like that, and you don't eat, you're going to die. And the Waco Kid goes, when?
Yeah, yeah, man. Everybody left. We had just a couple of families in our bubble over here, and they left. And then I didn't listen to any post game. And then like an hour and a half after, I just started listening to post game, and it was a mistake. And oh my God, Danny, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so you used the word pablum the
Yes.
last time, which was a fantastic word. And just in case...
And we have not doled out one bit of pablum so far on this podcast.
And in case the listeners didn't want to look it up and didn't know the word and maybe couldn't pick it up from context, pablum is a noun referring to ideas, speech, writing, or other media that are bland or simplistic, or that lack any intellectual substance or value.
That is a tremendous description of pablum.
It's a great word that it's going in the rotation for me because there's a lot
Right.
of pablum in my life.
Yeah.
I looked up Cafe Provence in Saratoga, Wyoming.
There you go.
All right. Checked out the menu. It's very nice. Very nice. Very nice restaurant.
By the way, if you didn't hear the podcast last time, when my wife and I went on a driving trip through Wyoming, Saratoga, Wyoming, a very tiny town with a 5-star restaurant.
1,500 people. But see, I wanted to... That's funny because the next line is in my notes, is you called it 5-star. What are you referring to when you call it a 5-star restaurant?
I thought maybe, I don't know, maybe I saw it on TripAdvisor where they give everything a 5-star, but I think they touted that they actually are like a gourmet, maybe at least 4-star. I don't know.
So,
I mean, 5-star is a big deal.
It just happened.
I mean, 3-star in a fancy restaurant rating is pretty good.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. Is it just so happened right after that I listened to a great podcast that I like to listen to, and they happened to be on the Michelin restaurant ratings.
Okay.
Do you know what the highest Michelin restaurant rating is?
What scale are they on?
Stars.
I mean, what, 1 to 5, 1 to 4?
That's what I'm asking you. What's the highest?
Is it 1 to 3?
It is 1 to 3. That's right. And so it was funny. And do you know who puts out the Michelin 1, 2, 3 and star?
I'm going to guess it's not the tire company.
You would be wrong because it is.
Wow.
Okay. So
why?
So it's a French, and I don't have notes on this. This is from memory from a
Michelin.
podcast. What's that?
Michelin.
Exactly. So it was a French tire company, and the automobile, France was ahead in aviation and automobiles at the turn of the century, and they wanted to get people out driving more so that they would wear their tires out, right?
Right.
And so they came out with this restaurant guide, 1, 2, and 3-star restaurants. And like a 1-star meant something, 2-star meant something. A 1-star restaurant meant that it was worth driving to that town just to eat there. So, you know what I mean? I mean, it was a little self-serving, but it turned into the Michelin rating system, right? And it wasn't until I think it was the 80s or the 90s that they did anything but French restaurants. And they came to New York, and they only rated French restaurants in New York.
Wow.
And so they got some crap for that. And now there's only 4 or 5 U.S. cities that even have any restaurants because they send their people out to and so these people that eat at these restaurants, they are required to eat 10 meals a week. Okay. They're on the road 5 days a week, 10 meals a week, and rate them with these Michelin stars. They're anonymous. They have to eat by themselves. They're not allowed to take any pictures of the food. There's all these crazy rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have to eat the whole course of everything that's offered.
Wow.
Yeah, it is really fascinating. Go read up on how the Michelin star thing works. Super fascinating. And it is the tire company, and they're still the ones that do it.
Wow.
And at the very beginning, the Michelin Man, that big tire guy?
Yes.
He was the mascot that was on the newsletter that went out.
Wow.
For fine food.
Because you're thinking of it, right, as fine food. I'll tell you what, we've gone to France. We went to France in consecutive years in 2017 and 2018 and went to all these little villages and we were sort of doing the Michelin thing. And these little villages have unbelievably fabulous restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just a wonderful experience. And a day in the south of France, which is beautiful anyway, and it was warm in the summer and the days are long, but you go to lunch, and lunch is like a 3-hour event. You just sit there and drink rosé, and you don't get you're not sitting there getting drunk because you drink like a bottle of rosé in 3 hours.
Yeah, with a bunch of pasta,
bunch of food, and just really. And fish soup, of course, which we talked about on
fish soup, of course, which I
past...
still haven't tried to make, which I think I will at some point. I looked when we were at Cafe Provence here in the village; they did not have a fish soup. Otherwise, I was going to order it.
Maybe it's something that really is just truly just in France. I
thought I might ask next time I go in there. Ask the chef if he would just whip some up. I don't know. Okay, so
I don't think you just whip up.
Oh, Danny, this is one of my favorite things. This is fact check number 10.
By the way, the Aura Bell is empty.
Uh-oh, we might. Do we need a magic break here?
No.
All right, you just let me know.
I'll muscle ahead.
Okay, so we talked about the Dakotas.
Yes.
Why in the hell do we have 2 Dakotas?
Okay.
It's fascinating.
Okay.
And it doesn't have anything to do with slavery or the South.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
Okay. So, and this is according to Time Magazine. It seemed like a reputable article. So North and South Dakota were admitted to the Union at the same time, okay?
Right.
It was going to be one place. But the South,
Dakota Territory.
Exactly. But the South Dakotans thought the North Dakotans were backwards because they were like fur traders and they fought the Native Americans a lot because they were more on the, it was more rural, I guess. And the South Dakotans had enough people because at that time, I believe it's 60,000 needed to be your population in order to become a state. Well, they had enough, and the U.S. government was like, no, you guys are going to be one state. And then this crooked politician moved the provincial capital to Bismarck, which is in North Dakota. And then there was this huge uproar where they just didn't like each other. And so then the government said, okay, we'll give you 2 states since you guys can't get along, but you got to have enough people for you both to come in at the same time.
How did they decide what was North and South Dakota?
Oh, Danny, I don't know.
That's next.
That's a great
question.
Dang, I thought I had my bases covered here. Well, but anyway, so they were admitted into the Union in 1889 on November 2nd, and they were the 39th and 40th states. So they also fought over the name, right? They both wanted the Dakota name, and here's why. Because by that time, the Dakota name was anomalous with quality products, right? So what it was going to be is South Dakota was going to be just Dakota.
Like Dot's Pretzels.
Those are good pretzels.
Those are damn good pretzels.
I'm not even a pretzel guy.
No, I'm not a pretzel guy, and I buy Dot's Pretzels all the time now.
I'm doing this.
I just gave up. I don't really like pretzels. They're okay. And then I ate these, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Oh, I know. You go to Hen House, and you get some of that smoky bacon crab dip they got, and you dip that Dots in there, buddy. Let me just tell you.
Well, let me tell you what. It's not healthy eating.
No.
Regular pretzels are healthy eating, generally.
Well, I'm on this no-carb thing, buddy. I'm trying to slim down.
But a Dots pretzel, I think there's a stick of butter in every Dots pretzel. I do.
They taste
I think
so
that
good.
must be a rule.
They're so
Have
good.
you ever had? They have
the Southwest one.
Southwest.
Oh, snap! Game changer.
Even more flavor. Even more ridiculous flavor.
So South Dakota was just going to be called Dakota, right? And then North Dakota was going to be called Lincoln, as in President Lincoln.
Right.
That's what they wanted to be called. And then the product thing came up, and so then they just split it to North and South Dakota.
You know what? This fact check is so great that we're going to probably have a whole show of fact check. So
No,
let's break now.
Really?
Let's break now. Well, first of all, the Aura bell is empty. Secondly, I mean, if we do more than the fact check, we might be a two-part.
I'll tell you what, Danny, I've got one more we're going to do, and then we're going to break.
All right. Okay.
Okay, and then we'll come out with a fact check that'll take us into a...
That sounds awesome.
Okay, so we talked about Delaware.
All right.
Remember Wayne's World?
Of course. Well,
We're
everybody
in
saw it on the Super Bowl.
Delaware.
Right. Like I said, I don't think I've ever met anyone from Delaware.
Okay. So I printed off the population of the 50 whatever, however many states we got, 51.
Well, the Dakotas and Wyoming are
BC.
right down there.
Right. So I thought we're talking about a lot of non-populous states around here, okay? So where do you think Delaware lands?
Oh, it probably lands not that low because it's an eastern state, so they usually have a pretty dense population.
Let me just tell you, they're right next to South Dakota.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is teeny tiny.
Delaware's number 45. They have less than 1 million people.
Wow. And Wilmington's got to have probably 500,000.
You'd think, right?
Well, Delaware's, I mean, it looks like...
Well, most of Delaware is Wilmington.
Right. Well, it looks like a little amoeba.
So South Dakota is just behind them with North Dakota right behind them, right? So I thought that was interesting. Kansas comes in at 35. Where do you think Missouri comes in at?
Oh, 25 or 6?
18.
Not surprising. Not that surprising. It's
I
a
guess
big
because
state
you've got two big cities.
and you got Springfield.
Yeah, and Jefferson City.
Right.
You know, Danny...
No. Go to Columbia if you want to go to that area. My wife and I...
What area? What area are we talking about?
Jefferson City.
Oh.
We spent a supposedly romantic night in Jefferson City. It's it's pretty reminiscent. I mean, if you want to have a tie for bad capital cities, I would say Topeka and Jefferson City are dueling banjos right there.
Top City has got hits, ups and downs. There's no doubt about
Mostly downs.
Mostly downs.
Yeah. Sorry, Topeka. You know what? They're improving.
My mother-in-law lives in Topeka.
And my wife has
My
done some
wife's
work
from
there and for
Topeka.
PR. I mean, I think they're trying.
The downtown's really gotten. Have you been downtown lately?
Yeah, it's gotten
Cleaned
better.
it up. It's a little
I
nicer.
worked there in the late '90s, and it was like, oof.
You know, the pandemic's been really hard on Topeka, though. There was a restaurant there called the Boathouse. Did you ever eat there?
No.
Oh, Danny, it was really good.
There was really a cool sports bar there, and I can't think of the name of it now.
Well,
we used to do a Washburn coaches show there, and
a
it was
bunch of them.
fun.
A bunch of those places have closed down in Topeka because they got,
Yeah, probably. Unfortunately, COVID probably did this to a lot of things. Just when people were trying to they're really on the upswing or trying to make a real effort, you get undercut by COVID. But let's stop before we go down that depressing road, and we'll see what Joe has in store next. I know what I'm going Orabelle again.
Really?
I'm Orabelling again.
I have a vast variety up there, but I will go Orabelle for you.
And we'll bring 2 down.
Deal.
All right.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with David Schmidt from Private Capital. And David, tell us more about your outstanding firm.
Thanks, Danny. Here at Private Capital, we focus on return on asset. In today's world, it is survival of the fittest. We look at things from all angles and try to figure out what works best for you. The changes we will see this next year on assets will be monumental. The key to success is knowledge. Know where you want to go, and we'll be here along the way. To find out more, give us a call at 816-221-7775.
David Schmidt from Private Capital with the best service for you.
Right now, it's more important than ever to support local businesses. And 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence is open and ready to take care of you. Make 23rd Street Brewery part of your KU game day experience, whether you watch the game there or grab curbside pickup for your tailgates or watch parties.
But not just game days. 23rd Street Brewery is great any day of the week, and when the weather's nice, you can take advantage of their heaters on the patio. 23rd Street Brewery is open daily from 11:30 to 9 for dine-in, carry-out, curbside pickup, and can even help with your catering needs.
So support local and visit a Lawrence favorite, 23rd Street Brewery.
Firsthand, I have enjoyed the benefits of the CBD products from Canaway. My back feels better and better these days, as a major part of my routine are the pain-relieving salve and the pure gold oil. And recently I had the pleasure of a treatment session using the Canaway CBD in conjunction with the Microlight 830 cold laser. The non-invasive treatment session worked wonders, and I could barely tell I was even being touched. TML 830 is the first 3B cold laser to get FDA approval, and in addition, the combination treatment with CBD is patent pending. The new smart laser is the only hands-free cold laser in the world and is used by athletic trainers, chiropractors, MDs, physical therapists, and veterinarians everywhere. You can learn more about all the great benefits from the complete line of Canaway CBD products by contacting my friend Sherry McCants at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312 to get outstanding information about Canaway. Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from RecExpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit RecExpert.com and learn more. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkScale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. There we go. The Orabelle opens part 2.
Well, in true Danny
Yeah, I didn't
fashion,
get a real crisp open there. I didn't.
In true Danny fashion, you only brought me one.
Well, I said bring 2. And there's 1. But I think that's going to be sufficient because the first one went down so smooth and effortless.
Oh.
So is this what you're drinking, Maker's Mark, or is this bottle just sitting here?
Yeah, that's what I'm having because
Okay.
I can sip
And you brought the bottle just in case?
Well, it's a little bottle.
It is a little bottle. It's cute.
It's a wee little baby bowl.
And why do you think is that still the British spelling of whiskey with no E?
Oh.
It says WHISKY.
I don't know.
No E.
I've never noticed that.
There's a fact check right there.
Lord knows we need them.
Well, we had such a great fact check this time around. Apparently, you have more. Not more fact checks,
No.
but more to speak on.
But this very last fact check, we talked about the NCAA football situation we're in and what it would look like to have a tournament. A 64-team tournament that I called for.
What?
Okay.
Oh, you did.
That's right.
I forget you actually called for a 64-team tournament.
Yeah.
Like you would play like in high school football, you'd play like 6 or 7 games.
Yes,
and then,
that was my exact point.
I thought, okay.
Just like high school, and then get on with it, right? Okay, so I found an article from ESPN about 2020 if it were a 64-team, because you had talked specifically about it being a safety issue. Right? And I
like
thought,
Alabama against 64.
And as I was thinking to myself, I'm like, would it be a safety issue? Because Michigan plays D2 teams. Is that a
Right.
safety issue, right? I mean,
I was probably exaggerating the safety aspect.
okay,
But,
so they put a bracket together.
so who would have Alabama played?
Well, Alabama would have played Louisiana.
Well, okay, no. Then I take it completely back.
Well,
Louisiana is a
6 teams
legitimate football program,
Here's your number 1 seeds: Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama.
right?
Your 16 seeds: BYU, Arizona, Duke, Louisiana. I mean, this is according to one dude on ESPN.
Well, then I completely take the safety issue. If I
Okay,
said that,
thank you.
I clearly it was 2 Orabelles down, although I had never had an Orabelle until tonight.
I mean, because who knows? I mean, there's probably,
Louisiana is a legitimate football program,
BYU's probably not beating Clemson, but
but they're not getting hurt.
they're not getting hurt.
Right.
So that was I wanted to just, You might think it's a bad idea, and that's fine. Lots of people think it's a bad idea. Every time I bring it up, actually, people think it's a bad idea. But I don't think it's a safety issue, and I think it would be neat. I think that it puts more emphasis on your conference play. And
well, the only thing I can think of that is deleterious to this particular issue is the fact that you would get less really high quality conference football if you're going to play. How many games you end up having to play 6.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I guess you could play 8.
Mm-hmm.
If you played 8 and you just played in your conference, and the fact that the teams from the 64, the thing is, if you've just played conference football, I don't think Louisiana's of the world would make the 64. I think it'd be just more conference football, but that would be okay.
Yeah.
So, but the issue there would be, do the big boy programs want to play potentially 14 games with no gimmies? Pretty much, except for in the Big 12 where you get to play Kansas.
Exactly. They're not going to want to do that, but that's going to make for a better television product, and that's what these schools care about is the money. It's going to be a better television product. It's going to be more money.
Well, I think that where we are in the world and where we are financially in the world, people are probably open to many ideas. But seeing as they can't even get to 8.
I know.
We're just talking about this is a flight of fancy.
Exactly. And, okay, so you talk about finances. Early on in this podcast, we talked a lot about Dortmund because I'm a German Bundesliga fan, and it was the only thing on.
Not this podcast,
sports.
but early in the series.
That's what I mean, yeah, early in this series because it was the only sports that was on because they were the first ones to come back. And, all of these soccer clubs are just bleeding money. They're just taking on loans, $100 million loans. And so Dortmund's having a garbage season. They might miss the Champions League. And they're going to have to sell off a bunch of their talent before they even normally sell their talent off.
But what we talked about
'cause they're broke
many times, I think early on in that time also, is the fact that if you're Dortmund, if you're Bayern Munich, if you're Manchester United, if you're Manchester City, if you're Paris Saint-Germain,
yeah,
you should not
Juventus.
You should not be destroyed financially by a year of not having fans in the stands. You should have a boatload of reserve money. They get so much money from television.
I know.
And they still are getting a lot of money from television, even though they're playing before empty stands. It's ridiculous.
You know what, though? I think it's kind of cool because they pour it all back in. Because a lot of these teams are run by boards, and they pour all their money back into these, this arms race.
For people who aren't as familiar, this would be like if in the NFL, NFL with no salary cap.
Yep.
I mean,
Messi, it was leaked out. Messi's contract is $86 million a year.
And I've said it before. I've been to Barcelona in the last couple of years. He's underpaid. The man is underpaid. I mean, the impact he has on that community and the money other people are making out of him, you can't fall over without hitting a Messi jersey in that community.
Speaking of soccer that might be more relatable to most folks, do you have Apple TV?
I don't know, Joe. You helped me out with a little setup in my basement.
I should give you my
haven't
password.
used that much, but you know what? I need that because my wife, actually, for her birthday, we have bought a Mavericks concert that is on her birthday that is available on Apple TV. Right now, we're planning on just watching it on a computer.
Oh, no, you don't want to do that.
But
you got that sound system downstairs?
Well, no, we'd have to go all the way down to the basement.
No, you just unplug that thing, plug it into your TV up there. It'll work just fine.
Well,
listen,
I was supposed to. Actually, I have on my phone what I'm supposed to do. So we'll discuss this after the.
I'm Danny's
personal. Maybe
tech
we can social
advisor.
distance, and you and your wife can come over and watch some Mavericks.
Oh, that might be fun.
Yeah, maybe.
So there's a show on there with our local product here from Kansas City, Jason Sudeikis,
right?
Where he's the coach of the Wichita State football program that gets disbanded. and then he gets hired to be a Division One a Premier League division coach in England, right? And the whole premise is it's like Major League where she's trying to tank the team, right? And he's got all this cool Kansas City stuff that he sneaks in, right? He's wearing a barbecue shirt that's like Joe's Jack Stack Q39 Arthur barbecue or whatever. You know what I mean? So he's really sneaking that stuff in, and it's a really cute show. But
isn't it named after the name of the guy?
Yeah, it's
he's got a funny name. I saw it the other day.
Yeah, it's really good. But also,
fact check.
I was watching another show on Apple TV, and I was wondering, do you like? I know you don't like science fiction.
No, not
but do you
really.
like historical fiction? Do you know what I mean by historical fiction?
Yes.
So like something that is fake that takes place amongst real events.
Yeah, I like it to lean more towards, historic, based on facts.
Okay, so that's not historical fiction.
Right.
Right, that's something different. So like Mad Men is historical fiction, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then
well, those are just period pieces.
Okay, that's I guess would be the other way to put it.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Period pieces. I am a fan of period pieces.
Okay, so there's a show on there called For All Mankind. Okay.
Right.
And it's if the Soviets had won the space race, and it's so good.
Wow.
It's so good. It's fantastic, and I binged the whole thing here, stuck at home in the snowpocalypse here.
Oh God.
In like a couple of days. And
the only good thing about it being ridiculously cold is it usually does not snow when it's really, really cold.
Yeah.
That's the only. I mean, it snow a lot. Mm-hmm. Although even the little bit of snow is annoying right now because I have dogs. I got to get the porch taken care of.
You see my floors? It's a nightmare.
Joke.
I'll tell you what, though, I take a couple more inches of snow because my kids are dying to go sledding, and I'm like, you're going to break something. Like, we have, like, an inch of snow.
Right.
Like, you're going to take a tumble and die.
I had such a wonderful snow experience when I was a kid. And I'm done with snow. I don't want to see any more snow. I've almost died in car wrecks and, whatever. But all the things we did in the snow when I was a kid were so amazing because it snowed a lot where I was, and we lived in a cul-de-sac, and it was on a hill, and then there was this thing called an aqueduct, and it was basically a gigantic water pipe that served the water needs of the area.
Okay.
And there was fencing there, and then they built basically a grass covering to this gigantic water pipe, and it was probably a quarter of a mile long, straight downhill, and it was an unbelievable toboggan and or sledding thing. I mean, and even my street, we lived on a dead end street, so we could get up the top of and there were probably 20 houses, so that length of cul-de-sac, we could go to the top of the street, go all the way down, and then there was a flat part, and you would sort of ease to a stop right before the main road. So it wasn't dangerous. Nobody came up the road.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. And why we did this, I can't even, believe, but the snowbanks on the side of the road from the plowing would be so big, we built tunnels in them.
Oh, that's cool.
From one driveway to the next. Like it'd be like 60 feet, 70 feet.
Yeah.
And we would build a tunnel, and we would... Now, if the thing collapsed, we could have died.
Yeah.
But
that's good. That's good old-fashioned fun right there.
That's good old-fashioned.
Speaking of could have died in the snow, my dad one time when we got a bunch of snow back in central Kansas, he found an old car hood, okay? He tied a chain to it, and he tied the other end of the chain to the back of his pickup truck.
Wow.
And he took us down these country roads.
Wow.
And then would whip into a field and do donuts. And, we were, straight flying. He's doing 30, 40 miles an hour, whipping us around.
That was metal, though.
I know, we could have died so easy.
That sounds pretty dangerous.
And when my dad tells the story, he's just like, yeah, it was great.
Oh, funny. Well, the one thing that happened is this aqueduct was sort of built in yeah, I got to describe this right. So it was low on the sides, and then it was about 8 to 10 feet up, and it was about 12 or 15 feet wide up top. So if the snow would fall, and the wind was coming out of the proper direction,
huge
drifts.
Yeah.
And then it was bare at the top. So you literally could like run and jump into the drift.
Yeah.
And then you tunnel your way out the front. I mean, it was unbelievably fun.
Yeah.
And also it would snow enough that we had a back porch eventually became screened in when after I went to college, we got a swimming pool, so that was all gone.
They waited till you left?
Oh yeah, my dad got his big job after I left, so swimming pool came. But we literally could jump off our porch into the snow, and it was like 12 or 14 feet high.
Oh, that's fun.
So a lot of fun things in the snow that probably would be considered. Don't you dare! You're gonna break your neck.
Well, there's this hill I've been telling my kids about over in KCK. It's right off 18th Street Expressway. Across
Suicide Hill.
No, we've already done Suicide Hill. This is bigger.
Oh, there is a Suicide Hill?
Yeah, it's over there off of over by Luce Park and like West Plaza. So my kids have done that. This hill is bigger than that. It's across. It's like by the Armory across from Jack in the Box down there off 18th Street in KCK. And a friend of mine.
The worst food in history. We were getting a little. The worst food.
When is the last time you ate it? Jack in the Box?
I don't know, but all I know is I had never. There weren't very many chains in Massachusetts when I grew up.
In 1932.
Yeah, back in the day. Especially no pizza chains, but I'll tell the pizza story another time. But anyway, Jack in the Box popped up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they had, and I think I had my first taco when I went to college. Mm-hmm. Never had a taco, didn't know what a taco was, and when I came there, they had taco wars. 5 for $1, 6 for $1. Uh-huh. Then I went back home, and the Jack in the Box had popped up, and they had tacos.
Oh, yeah, they still do.
I don't know what they're like now, but they were the worst taco in taco history.
They're absolute garbage.
I mean, just horrendous.
Delicious garbage.
So you think they're good?
Now,
maybe they're better now. I don't know.
No,
but I had even like what name's a Taco Villa, whatever.
I wouldn't say
even
they're
crappy
good.
Places like that.
Yeah.
And then you went to Jack in the Box. You're like, is this even meat?
It's actually not meat. It's tofu.
So did they say it's tofu?
On their website. Maybe it's not tofu, but it's some sort of like substitute. You know what I mean? And yeah, they're
maybe I'll have to try one.
They're terribly. You know what I almost did? I ran out of time. I was going to go get one of those crab cakes. Bring it in here.
Which one? A bad crab cake or
no?
A great
the great one, and taste test that.
We should go. Well, that's a good. Yeah, but we should do it at the restaurant and talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we did it here, it'd be sort of second
we
heated.
Do a little happy hour down there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a podcast. By the way, I just want to check before we go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's actually wonderfully amazing in a perverse way that you were so broken up by the Chiefs' loss.
Okay.
Just let's conclude with a little bit of that because
we can.
Because
I was
to be, you're not
until he threw the pick in the end zone. I was convinced they were going to win at 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Yeah, when he threw that pick at 3:30 or whatever in the end zone.
I really.
100%.
I mean, I kept telling my wife. My wife is, one of those emotional, sort of doesn't get it fans.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't watch that much, but loves when her team, when the Kansas City teams are into it. But also, she comes from a theater background. Okay, she's an opera singer, and she's used to watching perfection from the Chiefs often.
Yeah. Yep.
But also, so how many times she said, "What are they doing?" because she thinks in theatrical terms. You rehearse, you perform, you meet the standard.
Yep.
And when they're not, she doesn't understand.
And
so that was what I was dealing. But until he threw the previous interception,
which is when most people give up.
That's when because I kept saying to her, she's like, "Oh, we're done. We don't have anything." You know, it was 7-3. She was starting to say, "We just don't have the mojo."
Which it
when it's
looked like that.
When it's 14-3, even someone I highly respect, Curtis Siebold, texted, "We are in big trouble." And for most people, Chiefs 14-3, not in big trouble. I think Curtis, he knows football.
Yeah.
And he was seeing what was happening, and he's saying, this could happen all night long, and that's what turned out to be right.
Well,
but I kept telling her, they've got Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
They've got Patrick Mahomes.
Listen,
they got Patrick Mahomes.
There's the logical side of me as a football observer that at the end of the first quarter, middle of the second quarter, I was right there where you say Curtis was. Like, the logical side of me was like, this is terrifying. What is, but there's been so many times when they've just out of nowhere blinked their eyes and what do you know? What they showed up, right? I mean, so many times I've watched that happen.
Right.
And so at that point, it just became wishful thinking.
Right.
And, it was. I'm watching it with other people, which is something I don't normally do.
Right. It's not a good way to watch an important.
Yeah, and but I had good company. I was very happy with the company.
Right.
The company was great. I was concerned about it, and then it was great. But I'll just say that the expectations for me as the guy that was like screaming for them to draft Patrick Mahomes and screaming for them to start him. I used to call into 810 and tell you. You think how much we would have won by if they'd have just started Mahomes. I mean, I've been screaming for this since he was at Texas Tech, and I wanted him to piss-pound Tom Brady
right,
for legacy purposes.
Right.
And it really reteaches me a lesson that I in my normal life I normally do, which is you just go the next day, get better today than you were tomorrow, and if you do that every day, then it's going to add up at the end of the year and you'll be better. And don't worry about the legacy you leave behind and that people think you're a kind person and you left the world a better place than what and all that. But I wanted him to beat Tom Brady. I wanted him to pound him, and that would just put him on a rocket ship to being able to pass Tom Brady. And I've got friends that are Brady fans that I got to listen to now, and it's just friggin' miserable. And I was sick.
Well, I understand it because I'm not going to say I was the first person, but I literally said, and then other people started doing it. Sam Mellinger wrote it. I knew deep down that Patrick Mahomes pretty much had to win this game to be the GOAT.
Yep.
And that's probably true. Now, if he goes and wins 11 Super Bowls or something.
Yeah, but that's not – I mean, the chances of that happening are lower.
Right.
If Brady comes back, makes it to the Super Bowl, we make it to the Super Bowl.
And you beat him.
Now you're back to having a chance. Right?
Back to having a
but
chance. Right.
As it sits right now, that's probably not going to happen, and the chances are he's not going to win 11 Super Bowls. And so I had to reassess. I'm in the process of reassessing, right, this week. I'm in the process of reassessing that, it's okay. Because it could be Steve DeBerg out there. And it's not. And it's
going to be fun.
It's still going to be fun. And by God, I was the guy that wanted the Big 12 championship streak to continue with KU, was not as worried about tournament success because I thought it was so cool. And by God, if we go out and win 8 straight AFC West titles and make it to another Super Bowl or two, it's pretty damn good. And you just got to shift. I'm just going to have to shift my mindset, I mean, because it's been a rocket ship.
Right, and it's probably what was in some way a little bit good about what happened because people were like, oh, Of course this is going to happen.
I'll listen to that. And I told my friends this earlier this week. I said, the one silver lining is this is going to make next year more fun.
Right, because you're not going to just assume you're going to
Yes.
win the Super Bowl.
For the first time when we're behind in a game now, I'm going to think we might lose this game.
Right.
Because until that happened on Sunday, we were never out of a game.
Right. And we were way out of a game. But you talked about legacy and living. I was watching a golf show this week, and they were concluding the show, and for whatever reason, they got this guy, Trip Eisenhower is his name. He used to be a PGA player. He's a very good analyst. And they were asking for final thoughts. And he went through a couple of golf things, and then he said, and in closing, he said, always try to be the person that your dog thinks you are.
That's really good.
Is that amazingly good?
Yeah.
That's an amazing thought.
It's a good way to live your life.
Always try to be the person that your dog thinks you are.
Well, Danny, you can be my dog.
Salute, my
Salute.
man. I don't know if this is going to work. Well, that kind of worked. I can actually pump up the volume. Yeah.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.